Hello everyone, and welcome to the free and live Joomla SEO, a step-by-step tutorial brought to you by cloudaccess.net. We are the official and exclusive provider of the demo trial of Joomla at demo.joomla.org. My name's Bernie. I'm going to be your moderator, and Jonathan Gaffill, excuse me, is going to be hosting tonight's webinar. Just a quick introduction to cloudaccess.net before we begin. As I mentioned, we are the provider of the demo trial of Joomla at demo.joomla.org. Joomla chose us because we share the value of open source software with them, and no other company has a business relationship with the Joomla project quite like us. We are unique because we are an internet hosting company that offers phone support as part of a standard hosting package. If you'd like to speak with someone as you develop your Joomla application, you can call us and we can give you direct help. We also provide a managed backup service where we can save your work and restore it for you if you run into an issue. We also manage 100% of the Joomla platform for you. You can get Joomla a couple of ways. You can launch a server and configure a database and then install the software. We take care of all that server-side setup for you, and you can launch unlimited Joomla sites through our platform in about 60 seconds each. And if you need a custom domain name, that's not a problem. You can purchase one through us as you develop your site, or if you already own one, you can point one to your site hosted with us. And lastly, I'd like to introduce Jonathan Gaffill. He's the project manager at cloudaccess.net. He is very knowledgeable with the Joomla content management system. He's presented at the Joomla Days events in Chicago, and he'll be a presenter at the upcoming Joomla World Conference in San Diego, I believe it is, in November.
San Jose.
San Jose. Very good. So I'm going to pass the screen over to you, John, and let you get started. Let me know if you need any help.
All right. Thank you very much, Bernie. And hello, everybody. Today, let me get my screen showing here. All right. Bernie, can you just verify, are you guys seeing the front end of Cloud Access or the Joomla SEO checklist?
We are seeing the front end of cloudaccess.net.
Okay, just want to make sure. You got multiple monitors here. It's tough to see which one. Okay, so first thing we're going to start with here, we came up with a document that kind of walks you through step by step. From the starting standpoint of, a brand new website, obviously Bernie walks you through the process of creating a basic brochureware, what we call brochureware website in the other webinars. We're going to kind of take off from that point right there. Actually using one of his webinar pages. This is an art gallery. So we're going to be taking off this SEO session with a art gallery site, but ultimately what you need to do is kind of envision the advice that we're going to give you and try to transpose it into your own industry, which could be quite different, but ultimately the principles should be in parallel. So basically, a couple of things that we're going to start with here. An art gallery would be a local business, something that is not necessarily an international or even national company that may just sell art locally. So if you're an e-commerce site that you've got products that you're trying to sell to everybody in the country, but not necessarily in one individual area, this would probably apply a little bit less to you. But ultimately, I think the majority of sites out there would be, a brochureware site where you have a local establishment. And of course, if somebody was looking for your services across the country, that may or may not be possible to deliver. So I'm going to try to give you more of a local aspect of this. We're going to go through some of the tactics on getting your Google local listing and Bing local listings to show up, because we all know those actually come above the organic listings. We're also going to go through the steps of determining your target market, which could potentially be separated out by demographic, by specific location. Then we'll go through some keyword research, find out exactly what these people are searching to get to your site. And then, of course, we've got to concern ourselves with the writing of the content and maybe going through the content and doing some on-page optimization. Then we can do some complex things like restructuring your links to maybe have more keywords in them. And then a few things that is completely necessary for all website owners is to have webmaster tools accounts in the major search engines to kind of instruct the search engines what content you have and where to look for it and all that stuff. And there are some other topics that we're going to go through during this session as well. But one thing I want to do is get you to go to our, everybody here could just go to our the front end of our site, cloudaccess.net, and go to Training and Joomla Knowledge Base. And what I'm going to do is walk you to the document that you can follow along during the webinar, and kind of some links are on there, and it's just good to have some visual resources here. So click on the Additional Resources tab, and then we're going to want to click on the Search Engine Optimization link there. It's a category, and what it's going to do is it's going to present all the different SEO documents that we have. And what I've done is I've put those together into kind of a, I guess I wouldn't call it a checklist so much, but it's you know, step 1, step 2, step 3 style. So it should help you out. So go ahead and take a look at that, and just get that page loaded up on in your browser, and you can refer to that as we're going through this. So you'll notice the first step here, of course, is determining our target market. And you can go ahead and read through that. I'm just going to kind of follow through it as we go. So of course, we're doing this from the standpoint of an art gallery. If you're a local bread maker, or maybe you sell rain gutter, or maybe your industry is a little bit different, and you could travel across the state. Maybe you sell pots and pans. Who knows? Ultimately, the general concept is the same. We need to figure, an art gallery, our demographic is going to be probably people who are, we need to determine an education level, probably people who are pretty well educated. Believe it or not, Google and Bing, all these major search engines, they actually rate their content according to the reading level, if you will. From, let's say, they've got a 2nd grade reading level to a 5th grade reading level, and if your content is written, very, very proper English and uses big words, they actually rate that differently, not necessarily better, but differently than something that is maybe like a quickly written tutorial that that ultimately is just meant to go and learn something. So there's different writing methods when you're putting your content together, and that helps determine if we're shooting for a demographic here of educated people, artists, and not to say that all people that are going to this site are well educated and whatnot, but ultimately we want to make sure in this instance that we are writing very proper. It's kind of an assumption, I know, but in terms of coming up with your target demographic, your target market, you kind of need to make assumptions, need to know who your audience is. So I would say for an art gallery, we're looking for probably not people that are 18 and under. Probably we're going to want to focus this locally, but ultimately, of course, because it's online, everybody can see it that's on the internet. So we're going to focus it locally. We're going to think, well, we want people to stop by the art gallery. And if we're we happen to be in Traverse City, Michigan here, when somebody searches art gallery in Traverse City, we want our site to come up. So basically, we've figured, our basic target market. What we need to do is figure out what these people are searching in order to come to our site. Let's just do a quick search, because obviously we know that people are going to be searching art gallery. Let's try art gallery in Traverse City. This is just doing a Google search through my browser here. And of course we have some Google local listings coming up here, and then some organic listings. And it's kind of cool because you could actually, what we're doing right now is we're looking at our competition. Denos Museum here is our competition. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at their site. And they're just showing the current exhibits that are there. But I want to show you something cool here that you can do. You can kind of take a peek into their marketing within this page that happens to get a pretty good rank on Google. I'm going to right-click. In some browsers, it's a bit different. I'm using Google Chrome, but in some browsers, you have to click on the menu. But what you want to find is View Page Source. And once you're in here, this is actually a fairly bad example because they don't really have much. What I'm trying to get you to is some metadata that's in the site. But ultimately, this page doesn't have much. They've got, of course, a page title, and that's about it. So let's find a better example here. I'm going to go back to our listings here, and I'll find more of a, I know the Denos Museum actually is more of a school establishment. So let's say, here we go, Seed Studio Art Gallery.
Hey John, as this is loading, I just want to remind everybody that they can raise hands or post questions in the slide out question area. If they have any questions, we can get to those at the end of the webinar.
All right. Okay, so here you can see we've got a normal looking website. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go View Page Source. There we go. This is what we want to see. Now this is a great way, what we're doing here is determining the keywords that we want to use in our website. This is a great way to find that. We can look at our competition and see that their meta description, meta keywords, and title are all just right out here in front of us, and we can see what they've done in short to get to this spot. So here you can see they're using fine art painting. They're using some proper nouns here. Original art painting, and so meta keywords doesn't mean a whole lot anymore, but the description and the title are very important. And so these people, as you can see, they have Traverse City in both their title and their description, and you can actually see that when you look at their listing. You can see Fine Art Seed Studio Traverse City, and then the description here you've got Traverse City, Michigan. Definitely recommend putting if you're trying to rank locally, put the name of your city on there. It's pretty important. Okay, so that's one way to determine, get some ideas for the keywords that you should be shooting for. Maybe you know what your competition is, and just go and you can look at the source on their page, and you can see what their meta keywords, meta title. Sorry, that's not a meta tag. The title and the meta description show. But I'm going to show you another tool here. You'll notice on the document that I pointed you to, we have a link to the Google AdWords keyword tool. This thing's pretty cool. We'll take a look at it. What this is, it's a tool that Google provides everybody actually in hopes to make them more successful in using Google AdWords, which is actually a paid marketing strategy. But ultimately, you can use this for other searches as well. So let's just go ahead. We're gonna jump off of one of their key phrases, fine art, and we're going to go ahead and put that into the AdWords tool, and we're going to see what comes up. It's going to make me type in a little CAPTCHA here. Okay. Now what's coming up here is a whole bunch of not only the fine art keyword that we put in, but it's also providing me a bunch of alternate keyword ideas. And it's telling me even whether there's low or high competition for that. Of course, it's not giving it used to have a little graph here, but they don't do that anymore. And it tells me how many times this is searched on a global or local basis. Of course, what I'm doing here, this would be a local search. I'm trying to find art gallery in Traverse City. But of course, I might just be searching for art gallery, which would be a much more difficult keyword to rank for. So it's important to know that, for a lot of these, if you're trying to rank locally for art gallery or fine art, it's totally possible, and it's totally possible to rank globally as well. But ultimately, you just need to start making a list, and I would say even just starting out with a list of 10, but that's just personal preference. Start out with a list of 10 keywords, not necessarily including fine art. You could try other, look at, you could even, I wouldn't maybe not go with your competition, just kind of do some brainstorming yourself and figure, what would I search to try to get to my industry or my site. And so your entertainment's probably not the best one. Let's see what else we got here. It's interesting that they would do entertainment in there. Let's see. Okay, original art painting. Let's try that one. Okay. And this is going to give me some completely different results, but ultimately all great ideas. And you're going to want to go through and probably, choose the ones that are low competition if possible. But you gotta look at this and see, well, the low competition ones are the ones that really don't get as many searches. It's interesting to see this art paintings it's saying a low competition with 1.2 million searches. Sometimes you can't go by that. I wouldn't trust these 100%, but they're a great general indicator. So once you've made a list of all the keywords that you want to use, and you can actually kind of use this tool to set those up as well. You can save these. I haven't done this in a while, but you can save these save all. There we go. Yeah, it saves them in a little bucket, and you can go back and here we go, my keyword ideas, and you can go look at individual ones and search them and see what comes up. So get used to this keyword tool. It's pretty neat. Okay, so now we have a list of keywords. I'm just for example purposes, we'll get a notepad out and we'll do like, we decided on, I believe, fine art. Let's do painting. Of course, we want Traverse City. And let's do a couple of different mediums like oil paints. Maybe our art gallery focuses on oil paints. And okay, so we have a little list here. And what we're going to want to do is go through our content writing process. This can be pretty time consuming. I would say, I'm going to take a look at what Bernie's got here. He's basically just put some Latin sample text on here, but we can go through and give you some ideas as to how to put together the content properly. I'm already logged into the back end of the Joomla site, so I will just jump into that homepage article and get going. Oh, it looks like my session stopped here. Hold on one second. There we go. All right. Okay. So we've got to find the homepage article here. It looks like welcome to the art gallery. Okay, as it stands right now, you'll see he's got a bunch of text on the page and he's got a page title. One thing we would recommend against is using the page title as just printing it on all pages, because, and I can show you this, we have a little tool here called Firebug. I'm going to inspect this. Now you notice how this page title here is generated within Joomla as an H2. That would be a step past H1. H1 tags are typically looked at as more important than H2. So, so what I would recommend doing is making it so these don't show up, and we're going to create our own title. And we also want to include our fine art keyword, because this is the one that we're going to go for. Let's say this one gets more searches than the other one. We also probably want to include the Traverse City. So we're going to make the page title Fine Art in Traverse City. All right, so I'm going to go down to article options here, and I'm going to disable or hide the page title on this particular article. Now you can do this on a global scale as well. I'll quickly show you that, just so I'm just going to open up another. This is the back end of the site. You can have open in 2 tabs, by the way. And I'm going to go to Content and Article Manager. And on both the article, the category, and the featured articles, on all these different managers, you have this little options button up here. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And here I have the ability to globally, what that means within the whole site, turn the title off. Go ahead and save and close. And you see how that title disappeared. We're just going to go into the article and we're going to put that title back, but the way we want it. Oops. And I'm just going to go in and add it through the HTML. You can do this. I'll show you how to do it through the front end, but I'm just going to go H1 just so you can see what I'm doing here. We're going to go Fine Art in Traverse City, Michigan. All right, and we'll look at that. Now, we'll go ahead and save that and take a look at it on the front end. All right, there's our fine art in Traverse City, Michigan. You see it looks a little bit different. That's because the template that you choose, actually that's the point of having the H1, H2, H3. They're going to be styled differently. And to get into changing how they're styled is a bit more complex. I would probably recommend just getting the content on the pages and worrying less about how it looks and more about just the structure. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little this little Firebug tool again. It's very useful for developers if you want to look at the code and do a little inspect. Take a look at it. Now you can see that this is an H1 tag instead of an H2. Far more important. When Google looks at this page, they're going to say, whoa, this is H1. This is what this page is about, and ultimately what the content is about as well. Of course, this content has nothing to do with that, and we'll address it in a second. So as I mentioned, you can go in and you can add this stuff through the what you see is what you get editor, fine art. Oops. And you can decide, well, I want this to be H2, H3. All that stuff can be done here too. I prefer to do it within the HTML editor. So let's do a bit more optimization on this particular article. Now we've got the H1 tag there, which tells what the main contents of the article is about. But ultimately, we're going to go ahead and just write something here. Okay, so fine art in Traverse City, Michigan. We have the art district, and we have I'm just going to come up with a couple of different, you could think of them as subcategories within the article, but what we're going to do is we're going to make these the H2 or heading 2 portions of it. So we've got the art district in Traverse City, and then we've got the, let's say, annual, spell that right, art show. And these two, I'm going to put some content underneath each one of these. They're kind of like topics. I'm going to make these H2s. And under Art District, visit the Art District to have a good time. Oops. Okay. So of course we'd want a whole bunch of content in here, and I'm going to actually, just to make it look better, I'm going to go and grab some sample Latin text off of the home page here. And as always, it's best practice to go through and paste your stuff into Notepad just so you know for a fact that all the formatting is removed from it. Okay. All right, and so we'll go through and add a bit of content here. So the idea is, within this content, you should be using these main keywords, but you want to make it natural. You don't want to go, and they call it keyword stuffing, where you go and you add a whole bunch of keywords, and Google can see beyond that. Be natural about it. Oh, got stuck there. Okay, there we go. All right, so we have information under the art district here. Let's do the same for the annual art show. And this is not going to look very pretty, but you'll be able to get the point. Yeah, the text is wrapping around the image and stuff like that. You can see it doesn't look that great, but ultimately the content within this is structured in a way where Google can see we've got the most important statement, which is the topic of the article, and then we have the subheadings, which kind of describe the text within that specific, the paragraph below, within that specific block. And same goes, and you can drop this down. You can use heading 3 tags. Of course, we'll go through the interlinking of within articles using anchor text, but that's the basic structure. And we'll go on to the next one here. Okay. Now let's take a look at the URL structure within this site. Go back here. There we go. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we went through the reading levels, keyword density, the heading tags. The URL structure within Joomla is pretty straightforward. You've got your domain name, and then it actually goes by the menu structure, the menu aliases. So let's take a look at one of the current menu items that Bernie has put together in this webinar, and we can try to construct it in a better way. So I'll close this out. Here we've got art classes and drawing. Let's take a look at this one. You can see pretty clearly that it just follows, art classes, and then we've got the drawing page, which is basically following the submenu that's available there. Let's say, for instance, we know we're using the keyword fine art as much as possible, while still being natural. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and try to make this URL, even though we want to keep this saying art classes, we're going to make the URL say fine art classes. Okay. Now we went to close out of here. What we're going to want to do is go and edit that menu item. We're going to go to main menu. We're going to scroll down to the art classes menu item. And we don't need to change the title of that menu item. All we really need to do is change the alias. Now it's important to note that if you have already have your site indexed by Google and your pages are listed in there, when you change the alias of these menu items, you're going to change the URL. And that's actually an important thing to take into account, because then users that are clicking on your Google listings are going to get a 404 page. Actually, this would be a good time to just jump in and we can do a redirect while we're making changes. I'll do this one right now since we're halfway through it, and then the next one we're going to go and set up so we can redirect the requests for that old menu item to the new one. So here we're just going to change fine-art classes, and go ahead and save and close. All right, and of course, what we're going to do, I'm going to refresh this page, and it's actually not going to show up because this page no longer exists with this URL. We have fine-art classes. So now Google is going to go through, recrawl your site, and they're going to find this new URL, and they will eventually update it. And they'll also probably rank you slightly higher. Maybe it's one point out of many one factor out of many that they take into consideration. But this fine art is going to be now a keyword that's taken into account. All right, let's do another one, and this time we're going to do it with sculpting. And you notice that it actually changed the fine art in sculpting. It changed the path for every sub-menu item that's underneath this. But let's say, for instance, we want to go and we want to change this specific URL to say fine art sculpting. Of course, I don't think it's probably not the best idea, because honestly at this point it would be what we would call keyword stuffing, where we're just getting the keyword in there as many times as possible. So in the interest of not doing that, let's choose another keyword. We're going to do Traverse City Sculpting. How about that? Okay, so I'm going to go back into the menu manager. I'm already here. Menu manager. And I'm going to go down to sculpting. Now, actually, before I make this change, I'm going to go into the redirect manager. I'm going to do this in my other tab so we can keep this open. See, I opened my other tab there. Go into components and then redirects. Clear out what's already there. You can actually see right here where I got that error page before. It actually keeps track of that, and that's what we want to go through and make it so these requests get forwarded to the correct place. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this out of here, put that in the trash, and I've got a fresh space here. Now you're going to watch, as soon as I change this menu item, see, I just went through to edit the menu item. I'm going to change this particular menu item to Traverse City Sculpting. All lowercase, just separated by dashes. Hit save and close. Now, if I'm in Google, and let's say for instance I'm flipping through the Google listings and I click on the link that links to this page right here, it's going to go to an error page, as we're about to find out, because the menu item has, or because the URL has changed. So I go ahead and do that. My error page has been generated. Now I'm going to go back in here. I'll refresh, and I can see that error being taken into account right there. And what I want to do is I want to make it so this error actually, this gets redirected, this page, to the correct page. All the traffic from now on will get moved to the correct page. So let's go ahead and we'll go to the correct page here. I can just go back to the home page and follow the correct path to get there. Classes, sculpting. See, we've got Traverse City Sculpting. And here in my redirect manager, I'm going to click on the error that was produced and enter the destination URL. That would be just the correct place. And you need to enable it. I'll save and close. And now, if somebody tries to get to that old listing, that old Google listing that has the incorrect path, see, it just got redirected. You probably didn't see that. Watch the top here. Ready? I'm going to hit enter, and it redirects it. It's important to do this if you're making any changes that that affect the URL structure, or even if you're moving from, if you're moving your site from Joomla 1.5 to 2.5, anytime these URLs are going to be affected, you want Joomla, or you want Google to know about the new path. Okay, so let's go to the next item here. Okay, let's take a look at the listings themselves and how they're composed. Of course, you probably know this, but here we have the page title. Here we have the page description down here. Sorry, it's kind of hard to highlight these things. Page description down here. Of course, we have the URL. Some sites you'll notice have what are called site links. We'll go to cloudaccess.net, and here you can see site links. I'm going to show you the basics behind these items. Okay, so here we're going to look at we're going to, of course, use this as an example. You can see at the top here, Art Gallery Home. This is the current page title for our home page, which is possibly the most important page title. I'm going to go back and show you exactly where that's generated from. I'm going to go back to the main menu. I believe I'm actually already there, Art Gallery Home. Click on it. And here we get to decide what we want our page title to be. Right now it's just taking the menu item title. So let's see here, Fine Art Gallery in Traverse City. Actually, I think let's do it on a subpage. I'd rather, we're going to do it, we'll stick with these drawing and sculpting ones just because we're working on those. So we're going to go to, Page Display Options, Browser Page Title, and this one we were doing Fine Art Drawing in Traverse City. Okay. Hit save and close. And you can see my page title has changed to Fine Art Drawing. Before it would have just taken the browser or the article title, but now it's actually we've stipulated that it's supposed to use that, and we can actually take a look at the source and view that. All right, yeah, we've got title right there. Now let's go. You can see that the description isn't actually being generated. So let's go and take a look at that. Oops. Close out of the redirect manager. We don't need that anymore. I'm going to go into that specific article, figure out which one it is here. What I'm doing is I'm turning the page titles to show the title back on, because I'm not sure exactly what this article is titled here. Daily drawing classes, okay. I'm going to turn it off here. Okay, so we're going to go into the daily drawing classes article. we have this metadata options down at the bottom. You know, the description is pretty darn important. The keywords aren't so much, but you could potentially fill those out just to be thorough. For the description, we're going to want to reflect the title of the article and just kind of expound on that a little bit. So let's say we offer daily drawing classes in the Traverse City area. Stop by today for a free lesson. All right. So now, when somebody searches, let's say, daily drawing, Traverse City, or no, drawing classes, Traverse City, probably nothing really important is going to come up, and I don't think it would be difficult to rank very high for this particular keyword, but it's probably not searched that often either. So, classes, Traverse City. So what we would see here, assuming our article was able to get to the top or even remotely close to the top, you would see our page description, and then, our meta description right down here, and you'd see our page title right on the top. So it's kind of hard to highlight those, but you get the point. And of course, if we look at the source, I can refresh this, and now we see our meta description right here as well. Again, you can do the keywords. It's really, I don't believe it's taken into account that much, but it might be worth doing. Okay, so now we have this site, and we have determined what the most, optimal URLs are. We have gone through and we've put in our H1, H2 tags. Let's do a little bit of interlinking just to give you an idea. From the home page here, I want this text right here to say we offer daily drawing classes. That's actually going to really help in terms of getting traffic and getting more importance put on this drawing page right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go edit that main page content. Go back to welcome to, and we need to change this to welcome to Fine Art Gallery. Okay, so here we have visit. I wrote the twice. Okay, visit the Art Gallery District to have a good time. Check out our daily drawing classes. And here I'm just going to link this, and I'll just click the link button. And you may not notice, but you can actually just search for your articles right here. So we're going to do drawing. Daily drawing classes, there it is. I click on that. And of course we want this to open in the current page, but you can always open in a new page if you wanted. Insert that link. What we're doing here is making it not only so people can just click on that and go, but Google, when they scan this page, they're going to see that and they're actually going to say, oh, well, this other page is really about daily drawing classes. Now that's one way of just linking to the page, but let's say, for instance, within our daily drawing classes, we have a daily drawing class schedule. I'll go ahead and save this. I'm going to go back into our daily drawing classes article. And we'll go like this. Sorry guys, my mouse is kind of doing some funny things here. Okay. And all right, what we're going to do is we're going to link to this specific spot on the page, and anchor links are actually an important part of SEO. This is just the fundamental, the basics behind it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this little insert edit anchor tag, and we want this anchor tag to be called daily classes. Click insert. You'll see a little anchor show up there. Pretty nifty. Okay. Now we're going to go back to our other article. You could potentially have these open in two different tabs and make it go a bit faster, but we'll go back to this. So we've got check out our daily drawing classes. We could say our daily drawing class schedule. I'm just going to highlight this whole thing again. Oops. We're going to just remove the link just to make sure we're starting with a clean. Unless you plan on looking at the code, these editors tend to put a whole bunch of extra stuff in there. So I guess there's really sometimes no way of getting around looking at the code. But in the interest of just making sure everything's clean, I would go and remove links, remove tags, and then re-tag and relink it just to make sure it removes it all. So we click on the insert edit link. And actually down at the bottom here, whoops, so let's say daily. Oh no, we want drawing. And here's our daily drawing classes. Oh, okay. And then it should pop up and show me the anchors that I can use within this, but it doesn't seem to do that. So I'll just manually add the anchor. Going to have to remember exactly what I had written there. But what you're going to want to do is put the pound signal, the pound sign, and then I think I called it daily drawing. Bernie, did I call it daily drawing? Do you recall? Yeah, Bernie's out there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Oh, did I call the anchor tag daily drawing? I honestly don't remember. I don't want to get out of this.
I can't remember.
That's okay, bud. All right, so I'm just going to refresh the page here, and I can go down, and I should be able to look at the source and take a look. Scroll down here. This all looks like a pretty big mess here. Okay, daily classes is what I called it. All right. Okay, and we're going to go back here and go to the end here, and I called it daily classes. That is just manually inserting an anchor tag. But actually, what you should be able to do, just try it here. You should be able to, within the link, select anchors. And I believe this actually only works within articles. So let's say, for instance, the specific spot in this article that I wanted to link to was down farther as opposed to being in another article. That's when this would load the specific anchors that are available. Anyways, okay, so go ahead and save and close. All right, so go back to the home page here. And now we have our daily drawing class, which, as you can see, links to the middle of this article. Go back, and I'll show you again. Go ahead and click on this. So interlinking within your articles is an important part of SEO. You have to try to not only direct your site visitors correctly, make sure that they can navigate your site intuitively, but you also want to tell search engines, this spot on this other article is about daily drawing class schedule. And of course, it's actually linking to here, but the browser can't go far enough down the page, so we'll just live with that. Okay, so we've got this site, and we have successfully created, our titles, our descriptions. We've gone through our text and put our keywords into the heading tags. Now what we want to do is we want to go through and tell Google, and Bing too. When I say Google, I mean all major search engines. I don't want to leave Bing out, poor guy. What we want to do is we want to tell Bing and Google where our pages are. We need to submit a sitemap. Now there are a lot of different ways you can do this. You can go to a tool that will just basically create a sitemap for you. I'm going to go to Google and just say sitemap tool. Whoops. Yeah, sitemap tool. There we go. And XML sitemap generator. This is a popular one. All I do is I just put my URL in there. And a few settings, usually just leave these the same. And then click Start. And what this is doing is just scanning the different links on the pages, and basically it follows every link to come up with a map of your site. And you download an XML file that is your sitemap. Here you can see it right here. This is a sitemap. Now, a lot of people think sitemaps are something that have to be visible on the page where it shows all the links. Not necessarily true. In fact, you see most sites don't have those anymore. We don't have one at cloudaccess.net. What we do have, though, is an XML file that tells Google where all of our URLs are. Now, the problem with using an XML sitemap generator like this is, let's say next week we go and we change and we decide, well, fine art wasn't good enough. We're ranking better, but we want to do fine Michigan art. And we change our URL within the site. This sitemap is not automatically going to change. So what people typically do is they would go and use a sitemap generator tool that is an extension within Joomla that basically just keeps your sitemap up to date all the time. I'm going to, let me just dig through my extensions here and see if I can find a version of a popular one called XMap. I believe I have one. Just give me one moment here. And don't believe I do. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just go download one. If you look on the SEO, step-by-step SEO document, the checklist, I actually have a link to the XMap sitemap generator here. Let's take a look. Yep, XMap right there. And this takes me to the extensions directory. I'll go ahead and download. Hopefully it's not going to make me register for anything, but nope. Okay, so here we have different sitemaps. We're going to go ahead and take the one for Joomla 2.5 or newer. And Joomla extensions 2.5. Save. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is just go and plug that sitemap generator into the site. Hopefully you're familiar with uploading extension at this point, but I will go ahead and give you a brief tutorial on that too. Extension manager. I'm going to go choose the file. And extensions 2.5 XMap. And we'll upload. And voila, it's the beauty of having a Joomla site. So now I have this new extension down here. I'm going to go ahead and click on XMap. And you have to excuse me, I haven't created a sitemap within XMap for a long time, so I'm going to have to kind of toy around here, but I believe you just click New. You give it a name. Art. Let's see if, we don't even have to, I don't think this really has anything to do with SEO, but we're going to call this Fine Art Sitemap. And we want status published, public. We want it to dig through our main menu. And we want it to dig, we'll just leave all these by default. And we don't necessarily need it to dig through our user menu because I don't think the user menu is meant for, we'll go back home here and yeah, user menu has like create an account, access your account, edit your account. We don't need that stuff. So we're just going to leave it so it doesn't choose those. Flip through the options. You can probably just leave all this the same as well. So I'll go ahead, save and close. And it has just created a sitemap for us. I can actually go and view that sitemap by clicking here, I believe. Yep. So you can see we have not very many pages on our site, but this will automatically change these when we change the URLs on our site. And if we add new pages, it will add that stuff in. So now you ask yourself, what do you do with this sitemap? What we're going to do is we're going to give it to Google and Bing and say, here you go, here are the pages on my site. Of course, they will probably find these pages by indexing and crawling your site anyways, but ultimately this is just being thorough, and that's what they want you to do. You know, Google says jump, we all say how high. Let's go back to our checklist here. And after we've created a sitemap, I give you a link to Google Webmaster Tools and Bing Webmaster Tools. We'll just go to here. We'll go to Google Webmaster Tools. I'm going to have to do this in a new browser actually because I already have a session open with Webmaster Tools that I don't want to close down. So go through the process of creating a new account actually. Yeah, let's see, I don't even think, you know, the problem is with Google is they integrate all your different accounts. I'm afraid to actually create a new Webmaster Tools accounts for everybody simply because it may try to connect that to all my current existing stuff and that will cause problems. But I'll tell you what I can do is just give you a description of what you're going to do, and I can even show you screenshots of site or Webmaster Tools. Just go to Images. And that's not a very big image. We'll try to find a bigger one. There we go. Okay, so go to the links that I provided and sign up for a Google and Bing Webmaster Tools account. Once you log in, you're going to have to set up your site. Basically, you have to tell them, I own this site, and you have to prove it to them. The first thing they're going to ask you to do is to validate your site. There are a few different ways to do this. One that I would recommend that's really easy is they will provide a simple HTML file. It's a file that you'll download, and all they want you to do is just place that file up on the web server. Hopefully at this point you're able to access FTP. If not, I will, if you want to check back on our SEO document down here, I'm going to provide information on how to validate your account. It's an important step, and it's not overly complex, but it's one of the more complex things to do. But essentially, you take the file that they provide you, it's just a simple HTML file, and you upload it to the root folder of your site. That would be where your Joomla site is located. In our case, it's the HTTP docs folder. And from there, you click on a validate button, and they will see that file there, and they say, yes, this guy does own this site, guy or girl does own this site, and they will allow you to administrate it. Once you log in, you're going to see a number of different links on the side here. Site configuration is the one where you upload your sitemap. All you're going to do is click on the site configuration, and there's a button that says Submit Sitemap. Once you get to that spot, they're going to ask you for the URL of your sitemap. That's where this comes into play. Here I'm just going to click on this XML sitemap as I did before, and this gives me a link directly to my sitemap. So you want to provide this same link to them, and ultimately they will use that. From that second on, they'll use that to determine what links you have on your site. I guess also they'll use the crawlers that they have to figure out what links they have. But again, that's how you add the sitemap to Google and Bing. All right. So those are the main things we just covered. A couple other things that I want to go over that are a little bit, you know, on the side. Google, Bing, they all take into account load time, and this is kind of a big boo-boo that people usually do. Is they'll go and they will upload images to their site that are way too big and ultimately aren't labeled correctly, and this is actually a big portion of it. I know a lot of people, personally, you notice that I just went and used Google Images. I don't personally know, but I've read on forums a lot of people that get a lot of traffic from basically just the images that they have on Google Images. For that reason alone, you may want to go through and make sure that you have the correct tags on your images. So let's go take a look at that. You can link. You can see here. I linked to the image optimization article. Images, of course, have alt tags, file names, image size. When you're adding the image, alt tag is not the most important thing. But when somebody's on your site, and let's say, for instance, they're on a device that doesn't show images, when they hover over this, when it doesn't show images, they'll actually see your alt tag. When they hover the mouse over it, they see the alt tag. So it's important also for blind people that go and browse the internet. This is an important tag for them as well. File name. Now, you're not going to see a lot of people say that this is a huge important thing, but in the interest of just best practice, it's always best to try to be descriptive when naming the file. For instance, if I've got my home page, there's a picture of my studio. I wish. That looks pretty sweet. I'm probably, let's go ahead and just see what this is named, see how well Bernie did when creating this site. Go ahead and check it out. He did pretty well. He called this image artgallery.jpg. You could even go so far as to say Art Gallery Traverse City. That probably would be considered keyword stuffing, but those things, however small, are taken into account when search engines list your site.
You checking my work, John?
A little bit, yeah. You're doing pretty well. You're doing pretty well.
Okay, thanks.
Ultimately, another major problem that we see is people will go and they'll insert this picture into the article, but they'll do it. They'll take the picture that they took with their 10 megapixel digital camera and insert it in there, and then just resize it. As you can see, I'm going to click on this again and look at the image. As you can see, this image is the same size when I look at the full image. So we can tell right away that Bernie did a good job here, and he did not put a gigantic image in there and then just make it look smaller in a browser. This goes down. I'm not going to get too far into mobile SEO, but having a fast load time for mobile is a big deal. Of course, not everybody has 4G. In fact, we don't have it here in Traverse City yet. And ultimately, when I'm on 3G and I come onto a site that takes 10 seconds to load, odds are I'm not going to find that site in Google. Google's not going to show me a site when I'm searching that it knows that I can't load. If the site is 10 megabytes, then or sorry, not 10 megabytes, takes 10 seconds, is 2 or 3 megabytes page size, it's a bad thing. Speaking of page size and load time, just while we're on that subject, I think we're good on image optimization. Main points: use alt tags, use descriptive file names whenever possible, and try to keep the images of a proper size. I'm going to jump in real fast to page load time because that's an important point. I'm going to show you a secret tool here that is not really much of a secret. It's called Pingdom Tools. I will, if I didn't already, let's see here. I did not add a link to Pingdom Tools, and I will put it on there as soon as we're done here. Pingdom Tools is a tool that allows you to see how long your site is taking to load. It gives it a rating in terms of speed and in terms of, it also shows you what's loading when your site's going. Let's go ahead and just pop our Art Gallery site in there and see what happens. All right. So go ahead and enter that in, hit test now. Whoa, 6.5 megabytes. Bernie, you're in trouble. Bernie is in big trouble.
What'd I do?
Yeah, look at the page size you got here. 6.5 megabytes is a completely unreasonable page size for a Joomla site.
I'm wondering if it's my background image.
You know what? I haven't shown them that yet, but you're on the right track. Okay, so we're going to go through these numbers just briefly. A performance grade of 83 is great. Really, anything over 70 is pretty darn good. This is based on, I believe, all sites on the internet. So, if you're in the top 50, you're great. It's not like, A plus, B minus. I don't have a B minus here. I've got more of an A minus. Requests. Requests these are HTTP requests. It's how many times my browser has to go out to the web server and grab information for my site. And essentially, every time I load, let's say, a new image or CSS file, that's going to be a new request for that image or CSS file or whatever it may be. 46 is pretty good. You want to keep probably below 60 or so. I'm probably going to get people yelling at me for even saying that. But a load time of 3.5 seconds is slow comparatively. Not terribly slow, but ultimately that's because we have this 6.5 megabyte page size. Every time somebody loads this page, they're loading 6.5 megabytes, assuming that they don't have the images cached. So let's scroll down a little bit and let's find out what's wrong with this. Here we have the general, it actually shows you connect time, send time, wait time. The servers at cloudaccess.net are configured to run Joomla very efficiently, and you take an efficient site and it's going to load immediately. We actually have people that regularly migrate from other hosting providers and tell us that their site loads considerably faster. But you can't take a site like this and expect it to load as fast because we're dealing with such a high page size. So I'm going to scroll down here, and we see it starts by loading. It loads the main content there, and then it's going to go through and it's going to load the CSS files, load some JavaScript. We could potentially combine JavaScript files here and save a few HTTP requests, but not going to worry about that. This isn't really bad. I'm going to scroll down here and I see that 5.9 megabytes, that is like 90% of our page load time here, our page size, is from this particular image. In fact, you can see it took 1.68 seconds just to receive this file. You can imagine if you're in a mobile browser, it's going to be a big problem. You have somebody sitting there waiting for your background to load. I hate to say it, but shame on Bernie for putting an image this big in there, and I think that we should probably fix that.
I put it in there to see if you'd catch it, John.
Okay.
I applaud your efforts. Great job.
Okay, now let's keep scrolling down. We see that all these other images are relatively small. We have one here, the art banners. These would be the banners in the heading here. You can see these. I don't know if you happen to have image editing software, there are ways to make JPEGs like this, just compress them a little bit. Ultimately, the resolution or the detail in these images may be slightly too much for web content. Web content is not really HD, and there's no reason to have. You could probably get these to maybe not half their size, but that would be a little bit nitpicky. But ultimately, going through this, I can definitely see a significant improvement to be had here, and I'd be curious to go resize that and stuff, but in the interest of moving forward, we're going to just expect that Bernie will fix that in the future. So.
Hey, I will. You know what? One quick question. When should you use a PNG or a JPEG or a GIF?
Or GIF. Good question, yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about transparencies. One thing that people try to do, this image right here, this art logo, is obviously it's just a box. Most logos actually, they have some sort of, let's go ahead and look at cloudaccess.net. If I look at cloudaccess.net, that's kind of a bad example too because we're on a white background. But if we were on a black background here, you wouldn't necessarily want to see a big white box around cloudaccess.net. So in this instance, a JPG would not be a good option because JPGs don't handle transparency. They can't do it. GIFs and PNGs are capable of that. Now, a GIF is meant, and I guess there are very technical reasons for this, but a GIF is not meant for something that has a lot of detail. For instance, it doesn't do very well on images like our headings here. We wouldn't want to use a GIF here. We'd want to use either a JPEG or a PNG. Ultimately, I think, and you guys could probably correct me here, but I believe that JPEGs can offer a lower file size when you're looking at these, but it also depends on the quality of the image. So GIFs are actually better used for things like, we probably don't have, this logo would not be a bad candidate for a GIF. You could probably get a smaller file size with a GIF here, maybe. It's got a little detail, but ultimately not a lot of different colors. Let's take a look at the Cloud Access site. This is a bit better example here. I'm going to go to the home page. And for instance here, these images here, I would say are probably too detailed for GIFs, but Gosh, that's a good question. These images up here, these little Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, those are good candidates for GIF images. They are not a lot of colors, not a lot of details, and a GIF it has to do with how the image is mapped. You can imagine, you know, a couple hundred pixels there, and how each pixel is colored and the orientation of them. That's the difference between GIF, JPEG, and PNG. Ultimately, JPEG and PNG are the ones for better quality. If you need a transparency and good quality, use a PNG. If you need a transparency and not so good quality, use a GIF. You'll get a smaller file size. If you're just putting up photos off of your camera, use a JPEG. That works just fine.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so let's jump back here, and we can hop back in our checklist here and see where we're at. Okay, inbound links. One of the major, and I apologize for having such a small section here on such an important topic, but one of the major aspects of how you rank in search engines is how many links are going to your site, the popularity of your site. And also it has a lot to do with what type of links they are, you know, whether they're anchor text coming from some, you know, really big site out there that pulls a lot of weight in the internet, or maybe it's another small art gallery that's down the street. Ultimately, they all help, with a few exceptions. They have links that are specific that are no-follow links that don't count, basically. But the idea is try to get links in every way, shape, or form, and do it on a fairly natural basis. If you're an art gallery, we'll just go from the standpoint of an art gallery, and I'll use a few examples. Excuse me while I grab a glass of water. Okay. If you're an art gallery, odds are I'm getting my material from, let's say, my frames, my canvas. Maybe I have a bunch of different, like Jackson Pollock, if I don't believe he's still alive, but if he was an artist friend of mine, I would probably first go and talk to other people that I know that have websites. Of course, having websites in my industry helps even more. But try to connect links with them. I don't know that a link from a, let's say, telecommunications company would help in terms of getting my popularity up with this site. And so I would say go and talk to, if I was in an art gallery position, go and talk to my artist friends, try to get links from their websites. I think even more importantly than that, and you probably would require quite a bit of pressure, but I would talk to my the manufacturers of the frames, of the material that I use, and say, hey, I'm a valued customer of yours, and this may require calling them. It may require getting in touch with their web developers, but say, you know, I'd like to have a link from your site to mine. And basically, there is difference here between inbound and outbound links. You know, a link exchange would be, I've got my friend Jackson Pollock here that I show his art in my art gallery. If he has a website and we say, okay, let's link to each other's site. Ultimately, there is more worth to me if I don't link back to him. So if he just has a link to my site and I don't link back, I'm in better shape than he is there. And so basically contact your manufacturers or the people that you work with. Maybe you have people in your industry that you know of, you have connections. It's difficult. I can say from a small business standpoint, getting the links, especially links that are of importance, it can be daunting. There are link farming services out there, or services where you go and you purchase a series of links, or people go out there try to, you know, you purchase an email campaign from some people that just do that as a full-time job. The fact is, Google and Bing, they're pretty good about recognizing the getting natural links versus people that are farming these things out, and you can get in trouble with that. So I guess I'd recommend against having people, you can have people do this for you if you have somebody in your workplace that is good on with email and on the phone. Maybe send out a few emails a day and just say, hey, keep pressuring people. Say, hey, I don't see you have a link to my site yet. All that stuff. Another thing you want to do is try to make it easy for people to link to your site. Let's say, for instance, we go back to my art classes, and I've got this drawing schedule down at the bottom here, which I probably should have put an H2 tag on. Okay, let's say I want to offer a link to this. Let's say, people may want to know when is this class scheduled, and they may want to present that on their own site. Say, hey, check out this other art gallery's daily drawing class. So what I did here in the inbound links section here is I gave you just a brief example of just constructing a link. And this wouldn't be something that you would actually put into the HTML. It's something you want to code to the point where the person can see it. I'll just go ahead and copy that. I'm going to put it into the article. Probably lost my session here, of course. Yeah, hold on one sec. All right. So I got to go back to the article manager and daily drawing classes. Do a couple things here. We want to make this H2. Okay. And at the bottom here, I'm going to say want to link to my daily drawing class or daily drawing class schedule. Oops. If I could spell correctly, sorry. Copy this text, and I'll just paste this in here. And we'll go ahead and get a link to this specific. I can actually go back to my home page and even use, I'm going to copy this link that I created before. If you take a look right down at the bottom of the page when I hover over it, you can see that it has the # and then daily classes at the end of it. That links to the anchor tag right on that page. So I'm going to paste that link right here. So here we've got our webinar site, our fine art site, the URL, and then to the specific spot on this page. And then the anchor text. We're going to say daily, we want to even use Traverse City in here. Let's see here, daily drawing classes in Traverse City. Okay. Looks good. Go ahead and save it. And okay, so now I'm looking at this article that we've got here, and I didn't really format this very well. It should be much easier for the person to copy, but ultimately this link right here, if this is something you would want to provide to the site visitors, or even in emails going out to people that you're requesting links from. Say, hey, it's real easy. You could even just pop this into your website. The link is ready to go. I've got my anchor text right here, and the people, it makes it real easy for them to link back. And the fact is, nobody's going to link to your site if if number one, they don't know how to do it. You've got a lot of people out there that they administrate their site, and they're not going to necessarily log in and link to your site unless you make it easy for them. So I would recommend doing something like that. You could even have a module on the side. There are even tools that allow you extensions that make it easy to link to any page on the site. So that's one thing. Again, use this in emails as well. So the general construction of that is in the SEO checklist right there. Okay, so inbound links, that basically try to get as many of them as possible. That's the main thing, and I know it's not easy. One thing that actually an important tool to show you here, I'm just going to go to yahoo.com or Bing or Google. It all works the same. I'm going to go and look at, there's some ways that you can tell the links that are going to your site. They're not 100% accurate, but they are relatively accurate. I'm going to type in site, and then we'll just go cloudaccess.net. Hit enter. Now, this is actually a bad example because we happen to have a whole boatload of subdomains, and subdomains really don't necessarily count. So let's use another one. Let's say, what was one of those art galleries here? Seedstudio.com, Seed Studio Gallery. I'll go back here and paste that in. And this is a pretty cool way. You can just go and I can see, there. Gosh, I'm sorry, I completely misdirected everybody. Site is how you see all the pages on your site according to that search engine. We want link, colon, and then we've got the URL. I'll go ahead and hit search. And unfortunately, what we're seeing here is that this site does not necessarily have any links going to them. Now, I've noticed, and it's pretty common knowledge, that these search engines don't necessarily show you all links, or even in this case any links. I went to Yahoo specifically because I always thought that they showed a little bit more. They were a little bit more honest about it, but we can try Google and see if that site has any links to it. Okay, so here, new exhibit. Song, strung odors. I'm not sure exactly what this is, and I'm afraid to click on it. But according to this result right here, our Fine Art Seed Studio Gallery, it actually has a link from this particular website. We're going to go ahead and click on it. Small children beware. Okay, this isn't so bad. Yeah, so this is actually linking to, and you can see here, they've got it right here. That's the link that's going to the site. So ultimately, it could be potentially a one-way link as well. So this site, our Seed Studio, is benefiting from a one-way link from this site, and we can tell that by using this little code here. Now, there are other ways to see what links are going to your site, and there are better ways. Going into Webmaster Tools, having analytics set up. But this is a very simple way just to check it out. All right. Okay, so we have one final thing here that I just want to rip through. Local business listings. This is a very important topic. When you're marketing locally, you want to show up on the. Let's just go ahead and do. All right, Art Studio, Traverse City. Get some local business listings here, and let's go hair shop. I don't even know okay, salon. Okay, so we have the local business listings here. Ultimately, these are search results in themselves. They are not the organic listings. They do happen to kind of follow suit. If you have a high ranking here in your organic listings, you will rank higher here for the most part. But for the most part, you want to go through and you want to build these listings up just the same way you do your organic listings. You want to go and you want to get links to your site, of course, but you also want to go out and get not only your Google listings set up, but you want to get listings set up in other local business directories. I've provided in the link here just a little a link to our tutorial here, right down at the bottom. Here's a good list of local listing sites. This may be a bit outdated, but what I would recommend doing is just starting from the top and going down, and definitely use a spam email. If you have an email address specifically, to keep your spammy signups, use those. But go down this list and sign up for every free one you can. And some of them, not all are free, and actually I believe, if I were you, I would stay away from, do I see Yelp in there? Stay away from Yelp. I think that they're kind of a scam. And there are probably other little scam ones in here too, but just sign up for as many as you can. And some of them require you to validate your listing. They may give you a phone call and an automated message saying, please enter the 4-digit code, blah, blah, blah. These are great inbound links, and they provide they make it so your local listing, I don't even know where they went here, they make it so your Google local listing and your Bing local listing show up more prominently. Reviews are another thing. Get natural reviews. You can ask for reviews. I wouldn't necessarily do it on your site, but try to request people to review or offer them discounts if they if they go and sign in and actually give you a positive review. So, in short, that was the 2-minute local listing webinar. Anyways, okay, we have a whole lot of questions, Bernie. Help me out here.
Yes, yes, we do. Sorry, let me get back here. A lot of compliments too, though. A lot of people
great.
saying thanks. Yeah. Lamini, I think I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And John, if there are a lot of questions. If we get to some redundancies, just point it out. I'm kind of learning as well. So,
okay.
Lamini says, is it better to use template overrides to make articles show up as H1 titles? I believe you covered that one.
Yes, what you want to do to make the H1 show up, you see, for example, this article right here, we've got our daily drawing class schedule, and let me just go ahead and get to that. Okay, so you can see we don't have an H1 here. I could go into the article options and show and hide this. What I did is I shut the title off globally. We don't want the title to show up on any pages, and I'm going to put my own title in here, art, drawing, in Traverse City, and then set that as an H1. So in short, yes, just go ahead and add all that stuff within the article. I hope that answers the question. Here, Bernie, I actually can see this list of questions here. I can jump through if you want to pose them. Did I lose Bernie?
I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Oh, that's okay.
Lamini asks, what I don't like about Joomla is that the text to HTML ratio is low, too low. What's the best way to make that ratio high?
Text to HTML ratio. Well, ultimately, you can control, within your articles, you can control exactly what HTML it produces. If she's referring to, let's say, for instance, let's look at the source on our fine art drawing page here. Go ahead, refresh so we can see our title tag. So I'm going to view page source here. That's all pretty wildly laid out there. Here is the inside of my article. Then we've got a lot of other stuff that's loaded here, a lot of modules. Ultimately, the amount of HTML that's produced for the entire page is largely based on the template that you choose. So I would recommend choose high quality templates. There are a lot of junky templates out there, especially free ones. Cloud-based is great. But basically we want to go with high quality templates, and you can control 100% what shows up within the article. What shows up outside of the article, your menu and stuff, you could go with a simpler menu. We have a menu that actually uses JavaScript, loads external files, so that you have less control over, but ultimately you have full control over it because you can choose the template that you're using.
Okay. Very good. Fred says, are you supposed to do the keyword search for every page on your site? I think redundancy is important, right? Being as thorough as possible.
Yeah, our keyword research, we came up with 4 main keywords that described our site. Of course, this is not a very accurate list. If we were going through and doing keyword research on an art gallery site, we'd probably want to list every medium out there, pastels, and watercolors. And then what we'd want to do is probably have a specific page for each one of these. So I wouldn't necessarily do the keyword research for every page. It really depends. It depends on the niche that you're in. But basically come up with a list of general keywords that you want to rank for, that most of your traffic is going to come from, and then basically kind of develop your content around that. Ultimately, if you're being natural about it and just writing your content naturally, and your pages are about what the main keywords are, then you want to use these keywords in each of the articles in a natural form. But no, you probably don't need to do keyword research for every single article. But you can get as thorough as you want on this. There are people out there that will go and they could tell you, right off the bat what the keyword density or percentage within all the words fine art is located within this particular page. And that is actually how the algorithms, the major search engines, how their algorithms determine the importance of a specific page within a search engine result is the keyword density, among other things. So I can't tell you the magic numbers of keyword density and what pages you have it on, but ultimately I can say be natural. One thing, just while we're on this, everybody should know this, and I believe it was mentioned in the last SEO webinar. Go type in Matt Cutts blog, M-A-T-T-C-U-T-T-S. Matt Cutts does YouTube. The YouTube video, YouTube channel, sorry, has tons and tons of great information, and he kind of goes into do's and don'ts, similar to what I'm doing. There are a lot of SEO experts out there that that basically just follow his rules. That's all. So
yeah,
hopefully I answered that right.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of our attendees are asking if this is going to be available in the future, the recording. We are recording this. This will be published to youtube.com/cloud access. John, if you wouldn't mind showing them our YouTube channel.
Sure thing. It will be available if everybody watching goes and likes us on Facebook right now.
Yeah. And actually, you can have them like our webinars page.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Cloud access. YouTube.com/cloud access. And you can see a lot of, we have our previous search engine optimization webinar here that was done by my coworker Gary Brooks and Bernie's coworker, and that's a great one to watch as well, so I would check that out. But ultimately you should be able to get to this video by going to our site, go to Training, Joomla Webinars, and what we're going to have here, right now you see this Joomla SEO step-by-step tutorial, but you'll see a link here that just says something along the lines of specialty webinars. And then you'll see this specific webinar, and we'll put a recording of it right there. So you can go to our YouTube channel, or you can go to it in the site.
Excellent. Dean says, according to Firebug, my UTheme template article titles are already H1, so is there a need to turn off the titles?
No. No, ultimately not. In fact, if you turn off the titles and then go into your articles and add those titles back in, it's going to look identical. Yeah, it's just it's funny because we actually use UTheme template on our main site here. We just changed it out, and it by default is putting H2. So it really depends on the template and how that's laid out.
All right. And what went in the anchor text box? This is from Victoria. What went in the anchor text box? The keyword?
What you want to do is, we'll go back to our example page here if I can pull it up. There, use site. Okay, so let's go back into our drawing classes. Actually, no, we wanted to go to the home page. That's where we made the anchor text link. Let's say, for instance, we wanted to rank for drawing classes in Traverse City. And we want to, off of the home page here, we're creating a link to that subpage, which has all the drawing classes in Traverse City content on it. We created a link here that goes to it. So I'll just remove the link and recreate it. Oops. Link. Oops. Sorry guys, my mouse is a little funky here. Okay, unlink. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the text, and this is called the anchor text. It's possibly the most important text when you're doing this. And then just highlight it, click the link button, and we want to search for the drawing article there. And then, as you recall, I went and I added the anchor tag onto the end of it. So that was #, and then I'm going to have to refresh my memory here. Daily classes. # daily classes. And then insert. So what went in the link the anchor tag box there is the link to the other page. Now let's just real quick go to the other page, and I'll show you how to create it on that end. Of course, you'd want to do this backwards. You want to create the anchor link first and then link to it. You can see this little thing here. Let's do another one here. That was a link to the schedule. We're going to create another anchor tag right here. So click Insert, Edit, Anchor, and you can literally put anything you want here, but you want it to be applicable to what your what the content is. So we're going to do Traverse City drawing class, something like that. And so now when I create, if I want to link directly to this spot, I'm just going to do the # on the end of any link that goes to this page. I can do # Traverse City drawing classes. That's a really long anchor tag. I would not probably make them that long. This is borderline keyword stuffing because the anchor tag really, I suppose it would work, but just be mindful. Try to be natural about it. I guess that's the only thing I could say.
All right. So Bill says, this is a great job. Is there a maximum number of words in the meta description? How long should it be?
Good question. Very good question. There's a lot of theories about that. I'm just going to be honest, I'm just going to do a Google search. I could tell you I believe it's 140 characters, but let me double check here. If I could spell recommended right. Meta description length. Let's just see what SEO Moz has to say. Here, this guy says 160 characters. This guy says 64 for the page title. Meta descriptions, Matruncate. So that's the important thing. Search engines may cut short anything over 150 characters. So I would say 150 characters is probably a good good amount.
Okay. And Jeff asks, you mention stacking on the results page. How?
Stacking on the results page. Stacking?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Could you just kind of rephrase the question? I'm not exactly sure. You're probably referring maybe to the one thing I didn't cover is the site links. Maybe that's it, where we've got here, okay, Cloud Ahoy. Not sure what that is, but these would be the site links. Maybe that's what he's referring to. I did not go over that, but I did mention it. Ultimately, this site links, they would be covered. You can Google will decide its own site links. It will say, we see that these pages are popular. They seem to be, your main pages. They'll put them up here. You can go in your Webmaster Tools and tell Google, well, I don't want certain ones. You can exclude site links, but you can't tell Google which ones to use. I'm hoping that's what he was talking about.
Okay. Yeah, Jeff, let us know if we were able to answer that. Keith asks, when I try to get links using LinkBait, if I share something on Facebook to 1,200 people and it has a returning link to it, do I get 1,200 separate links, or is it considered one link because it all comes from Facebook?
That's a really good question, and to be honest, I don't know the specifics about that. We do have another coworker listening in, Sarab, and I'm wondering maybe he could chime in on that. Sarab, is it with links coming from Facebook? I guess, how are those counted? He's actually one of our social marketing gurus, so he might know the answer to that. I can venture a guess on that and just say that Google does not necessarily read the pages, depending on how you have your privacy settings. They do not necessarily read your status updates. So links from your status updates may not be counted. I think that the answer to that probably depends on the person's privacy settings. If everything is set to public on their page, then you probably do get a backlink. But if they have it so only their friends can see their updates, then probably you don't get any count for that.
Okay. Hey, Sarab, can you hear us?
Hey, yes, I can hear you guys. Okay, so I think, yeah, I mean, probably, we can get just one link, back on your site, like people are following, but there's no specific amount of numbers.
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha. That's a good question, though. I'm curious, and I'm probably going to go look that up after the webinar.
All right. Let me get back to some questions here. Let's see. Fred, does social linking back to your site help? I know you commented on it, but
I think like Twitter probably helps more than Facebook. Again, because Facebook status updates don't necessarily show to the public. Yeah, the answer is definitely yes. It does help, and I would encourage it, and I would say get as many, links. But ultimately, the value from social links and social updates, like on Facebook, obviously, is it's spread out to a lot of people. But in terms of search engine optimization, probably the ones that Google indexes are the ones that are going to be more important.
Okay, John, I'm getting a lot of comments saying thank you so much. Dean says, what are the extension names that display the page links in the article?
That's a really good question. To be perfectly honest, I'm not aware of any specific ones that do that. I was kind of just leaning on the fact that the extensions directory has over 10,000 extensions, and any sort of little bit of functionality like that you can think of has been pretty much created. So you kind of caught me there. I am not entirely sure of a specific one, but I can almost guarantee that there's one out there. We could do a quick search, and I could probably pull one up for you. Pretty efficient at searching extensions directory here. Okay, so they're going to be under, let's just do site links. And looks like Sarab actually already came up with one. Short links. Okay, so this would be structure and navigation. What I would do is I would go to the structure navigation and then the site links portion, and probably there are some in here that offer that. So sorry, that's probably not as much help as you wanted, but ultimately there are a lot of different features that offer that. But I wouldn't, it'd almost be, that's almost part of like a share. For instance, people, they can like a page on Facebook, they can share it on Twitter, but they probably have within those extensions, the social extensions, they probably also have one that has a thing where people can copy the specific spot on the page, or maybe a post's link so they can share it. Similar to when you go to like YouTube. We go to a specific page here, pause this, and here we can go to share, and it gives me the URL. I'm sure there are extensions that do that as well. So again, there are over 10,000 here. I'd venture to guess that there's one in there that does that.
All right. Jessica asks how to get the URL for images on the websites that can be used to refer to any other websites, so we can link to that image on the specific page location.
Gosh, I'm not sure exactly. Bernie, can you try to rephrase the question a bit?
Or have it show up in a different page while still taking it from that same image. I think she may just want to know how to link an image to the original source.
Yeah, that's pretty easy to do actually. Let's say I'm not going to have Bernie admit to this, but I'm guessing he probably pulled this image off Google, which is a big no-no. I'd say people don't do it. But let's say, for instance, we wanted to link this image, which is on another site. So I'm going to go to images.google.com. We'll say painting. And here we have the Mona Lisa. And I'm going to just find the specific URL to this image, which happens to be quite long, and then within this, instead of linking, I'll go ahead and just choose the image for the file path, the URL here. Instead of linking to a local image, we're just going to put the full image path there, and it's probably going to be all scattered and stuff because it is. Yeah, it is going to be a different dimensions, but update. There you can see the Mona Lisa. So basically, yes, you can display images from other websites in your site. However, I'd like to step back and say, don't do that. You want to get the images locally. I probably wouldn't pull images off of Google. That's not very good practice. And but technically speaking, yes, it's possible. We have the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, you know, John, I get a lot of my images free from morguefile.com. It's a free image
Oh, I didn't even know that one.
resource, yeah.
What's it called? More?
It's Morguefile, M-O-R-G-U-F-I-L-E.
M-O-R-G-U-F, Morguefile. Interesting. I didn't even know that's out there. Cool.
Yep.
Stock photos are a difficult thing to find sometimes.
Yep.
You can pay a lot of money on them, and this is great. Is
Yep.
that Arnold Schwarzenegger? Sweet. Cool. Okay.
All right. Steve has a question. How long should it take to see actual results when doing some of these things? How long can you wait before you can see improvements take effect?
That's a really good question as well. It depends on where your site is at. If you're just starting out, you know, I would start, if your site is brand new, I'd start and I'd go get links from local listings, try to get links from other places. Google will crawl your site more frequently, and it will give more higher rankings to more popular sites. The answer to that is probably, if you want me to just throw out random numbers, I couldn't tell you if they are exact by any means. It really depends. But I would say that if you're just starting out, if you just launch your site, I would expect that if you go and you start a webmaster account, you could probably get it indexed in Google within a week or so, or considerably less time. That means that you would actually see it when you type in, for instance, let's just go to Google. This is an easy way to tell whether your site is indexed in a search engine. You type in site, and then cloudaccess.net, or your site's URL. It will pop up and it will show you the different pages on your site. If, of course, we don't have 236,000, but it will show that. So you can get in Google relatively quickly. Now, how fast you climb to the top of search engines for your specific keywords, that depends greatly on the difficulty, the competition that you have for those keywords. So I couldn't give you exact results, but I think that generally speaking, I would not plan on getting results on major keywords. You know, search engine optimization is something that you know, it's kind of like geology. It's like time and pressure. You know, that's all it is. You just, over time, you could keep applying pressure, keep getting those links, keep, you know, adding content to your site. One thing we didn't really mention that's really important is add content to your site. You need a lot of content. You know, having a 5-page brochureware website, we call it brochureware, just, you know, 5 static pages, that is not necessarily going to get you to the top of search engines for a highly sought after keyword. You need a lot of content. So if you keep writing content, you keep getting links, make your site generally interesting and people want to go to it, you could possibly see results over the course of, let's say, 6 months, you know, for major keywords if you keep at it.
All right. Hey, Sir Rob, can you hear us?
Hey guys, yes, I can hear you guys.
Hey, was that answer okay?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Just want to check. Sir Rob's kind of like Big Brother.
Yes, Sarab is commenting on the side saying it could take 1 week to 10 years, you know. It's a difficult question. It is a difficult question.
You know, a lot of attendees today, and it's okay if you come and you don't want to ask questions. Alan and Andres and Brian and Bruce and Chris and Dan and Doug and Eduardo and Gary and GV and Henry and Hugh and Hugo and Jay and Jessica and Jill and Jim and Jerry and John and Julie and Keith. I won't go through the whole list, I suppose, but
okay.
We appreciate you guys coming. Gerardo, please let us know if you have any other questions. Gerardo asks, if every developer does this, which would be the expected place in organic results? Meaning, which is the most important?
If every developer does this, which would be,
I suppose the first one.
I'd ask you to, could you repeat the question again?
If every developer does this, what is the best place to be in the organic results?
Yeah, I hope he's talking about does search engine optimization. I believe that's what he's referring to. I feel like this is kind of one of those questions off Jeopardy.
Yeah.
So yeah, if every developer does SEO on their site, what can you expect? I think that's what he's asking. So I guess you first of all you have to look at your industry and your competition to determine how much value you'll actually get for particular optimizing for particular keywords. We have something called long tail SEO that if you find that, let's say for instance you're selling T-shirts nationwide, you print T-shirts and you ship them out to everybody around the country. In America, you may find that ranking for design T-shirt is basically the first 5 pages of that is just full of people that are established companies that are impossible to rank in front of in the short term. I would recommend probably in that instance going with keywords that are less sought after but still searched. You'll find that if you look in the keyword tool, you'll find that maybe design my softball team T-shirt is a key phrase that is searched maybe 500 times a month instead of 5,000, which or 5 million design shirts, and it may have a much lower competition. So I guess to answer the question, every developer out there, every webmaster is going to try to get their site higher in search engines. It's like everybody's climbing to the top, and how do you scramble up there? It's a tactical thing. You have to go through and you have to look at your competition, your specific niche, see what your competition's doing, and then kind of make an educated decision on what would be the most effective use of your time or your money if you want to hire this out. Real quick, I'd just like to throw out there that there's a lot of companies out there that offer we'll get you to the top of search engines in 5 minutes. Give us $50. Don't believe in those companies, because there are actually situations where they can do more harm than good. You want to do these things naturally. You want Google to think you're a normal company that doesn't, basically it's one of those things where you don't want to try too hard. You don't want them to think you're trying too hard, at least. So yeah, it's something where you have to look at your niche and kind of make an educated decision.
All right, Ronnie asked for some tools to optimize images, and Sarab sent you some links there. Dean says, thanks, excellent session. Steve says, learned a lot from a brand new user, thank you. And Rich says, great information tonight, thank you. Harry has a comment, I think, about something we may be able to create in the future. Can you post a list of the SEO guide of recommended tools, sites, or extensions which we should consider using? I think that's a great project for us.
Yeah, definitely. There are a whole lot of great guides out there. There's a lot of resources on the internet, no shortage of them. But ultimately, we will definitely put one on our site. You can keep checking in on our category. Let me just go back to cloudaccess.net. Actually, I take that back. Everybody can see my screen still?
Yep.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on our new Chrome extension and go to cloudaccess.net.
Very good.
Yep, I had to throw that in there. So you can keep an eye on, if you go to our knowledge base and check out our additional resources. We may actually make this a larger category so you can get to it easier. Keep checking in on our SEO category. We'll keep expanding on this and making it easier to use. Ultimately, we're constantly improving these systems. So check back frequently on that, and we will put some tools together for you.
Great. Jay says, the comment really, very true about the SEO spammy companies. Better to build quality content and just make sure you're following the guidelines you guys laid out. Great tips. Peter says, I'm new to Joomla, was using WordPress before. This was an amazing help. Thank you. Are these tools available in WordPress?
You mean the external tools that I was using, like the AdWords and all that stuff, the AdWords keyword tool, that is all, of course, available for anything. But no, I mean WordPress does have the ability to change the page title and the meta description and all that stuff. So kind of in short, yes, it is.
Okay, and
well, I'll jump in there and say the redirect manager. That is a very, very, very important SEO tool that is not available in WordPress. No, I don't want to make it sound like WordPress is even on the same playing field as Joomla.
Okay.
But ultimately, you can do similar things with WordPress.
All right. Jay says the ultimate SEO test is if your mother-in-law can find your site organically.
You got it. Yeah.
Funny stuff. Eduardo says, great job. Thanks for all the information. It cleared a lot of question I had for a while and gave me the confidence I needed as I realize I'm doing things the right way. Hey, you know what? That's a quote for the webpage. Henry says, SEO is undertaught. Good webinar. I think it's the missing link. Thank you. Julie says, this was an excellent webinar. I plan to watch again. Lots of great tips. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, really cool. We want to thank everyone for attending. And we're going to have to say good night at this point, or good day, good morning, good afternoon. We know we have attendees from all over the world. Sarab, you want to say goodbye?
Yes, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
And good night.
Take care. Don't forget youtube.com/cloud access. You can check out a copy of this webinar. It'll be posted in the morning. And always check back to our webinars page for some upcoming free webinars. And as you see John doing now, go ahead and install the Cloud Access.
Yeah, here. I'm going to go. I'll show everybody how to do it here. Cloud Access. Oh, no, wait. Sorry. Chrome extensions. You'll get to the Chrome Web Store, Chrome extensions, and we'll wait for it. And then just go to cloud. Just type in cloudaccess.net, and you'll see our wonderful extension. You can add it to Chrome. You can rate it. It is very, very useful. You know, we've got all sorts of links to our knowledge base and submit a ticket, our YouTube channel. Very, very cool.
Perhaps even a SEO webinar link there one day.
Yes, we will continue upgrading this.
All right, thanks everybody. Take care, and check back with us soon. We'll see you around.
Bye now.